What's happening now? What are we doing?
I've been recording that whole time, but that's okay.
That's it.
Because I'm
Good.
I thought
Good.
it was
I
good.
hope
We're just waiting for the.
somebody better clip that shit.
So the
Like,
truth of this
Yeah.
is that in the way the game is set up, they do actually recommend feeding your guests when you're playing.
Yeah.
But we are not
There's
playing.
a recipe in the book, right?
There's a
Isn't there like
recipe.
a recipe?
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
fantastic. Yeah.
Like that's awesome.
So I'm going to do an official welcome. Welcome here. I am Stephen Whitmore, he, him, and I am at Bowties and Bugbear on Twitter. I have published to DM's Guild. I have worked with the lovely Cyle, who is to my right on this screen. I don't know if he's to my right here, on his Twitch feed. Next, we've got Kat, or Literary Caitlin on Twitter. And then, Kat, what do you want to say about yourself? You are a 2-title DM's Guild published author, correct?
I suppose I am, yeah. I forgot that second one came out. But yeah, I'm Kat. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me at Twitter, at literary Caitlin. And I'm really excited to do this. Queer Apocalypse. Let's go.
And next we have in the number 3 seat, Cyle.
Hi, I'm a DM over at Play Nerd Allies, and a queer creator in the TTRPG space, doing all kinds of stuff. I'll do links and stuff like that later on. Yeah, and I'm really excited to play with all of these glorious human beings.
Yeah! Here's to human beings.
Yeah, not the other one.
In the number 4 seat, we've got Pete, aka at Disco Pete, also a DM's Guild published author.
Hey, that's me. Yeah, very recently, but yeah, longtime player. Kind of new to streaming and recording and stuff. So this will be. I'm also excited to explore the queer apocalypse. That'll be very interesting. So yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
And finally, we have Stella, Saint Stella. We can find Stella on Twitch. Introduce yourself. Tell us about what you do, Stella. You're the one person who I have interacted the least with, but I'm super excited to have on my show.
I'm Stella. I use they, them, or she, her pronouns. Both are fine. Currently, I DM every Wednesday over on Twitch. You can find me as Saint Stella on the internet everywhere. I come from a theater and burlesque background.
That's perfect. So I'm going to say welcome to Two-Bite Tabletop. Officially, that's what I've decided to call this little show, because, you know, when you got a kid who's a picky eater, they got to at least try 2 bites of everything. And the idea behind this is we're writers and creators who want to try systems outside of our normal systems, so game systems. So most of us have met through D&D or TTRPGs, such as 5th edition D&D, and we want to try new things. And tonight I've brought to us Dream Askew by Avery Alder. This game I found out about last summer when I was actually awaiting COVID test results. I was stuck in bed listening to one of my favorite podcasts, the One Shot Network, and they played Dream Apart, which is the companion story. If you see over on your screen, you'll see that there's Dream Apart and Dream Askew. They're packaged in one book, and they're companion systems. They use what is called the belonging outside of belonging system, and they are a fork of what's known as the powered by the apocalypse system. All right, so folks who are here today, how familiar are you with the powered by the apocalypse system? Have you seen it before, heard of it?
It's new for me.
Like I've seen.
I vaguely know it. Yeah, I vaguely know it from Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which is a recent TTRPG that I picked up. But that's basically all I know it from. So.
And I read through Dungeon World, but I never tried it out. The ideas are interesting.
So basically, this is my first running of a Powered by the Apocalypse like a game. Uh, what's really good about this is Powered by the Apocalypse games are in fact open license games, and there are many ways you can create Powered by the Apocalypse systems games. So in this case, and this is specifically a belonging outside belonging game, which started as Powered by the Apocalypse and moved into something a little different. And there's even rules in the back of the book for how to create your own system. It's very encouraged to create your own system. And all you would really have to do is use the play kit to do that. And you've all seen the play kit, and that's almost all you, once you learn the system, that's actually all you really need to play is the different characters. And in this case, you play a character and a world or a setting element. So this is a GMless and Diceless system, so we're all going to work on the world together, which is really exciting. It was one of the reasons I chose this as the first one to try with you all, and that is simply it gave me a lot of time to work on the actual tech setup and try stuff out without worrying about the world design GM type stuff. We're all going to work together on this.
Yeah, I like the document. It almost reads like a step-by-step manual or like a process document or something.
Absolutely. And even like if we think of it from a theater perspective, it's almost like not theater of the oppressed, if anyone's familiar with that. It's like bringing people to the table to talk about the world and make change in the world. Have you all got a chance to open up the play kit? As I'm reading through sort of this, you might want to have the play kit and one of the character sheets open. So the basic mechanics, it's super simple. There's no dice. There's no stats per se. In other Powered by the Apocalypse systems, like Monster of the Week, there are stats, there are dice rolls you have to make. In this case, there's no dice rolls, so what you've got is your strong moves, which you have to pay a token for. So your basic things you need are moves, tokens, and lures. And so strong moves cost a token, and they create positive outcomes for your character. And in this case, we call the group, the world we're in, the enclave. And then you've got regular moves. And these are moves that can be done at any time. If you're thinking of them in 5e terms, it's sort of like a cantrip. This would be like anyone in the world, in our world, could drive a car if they've got a license. That would be a regular move, right? Walking down the street. And some of these are generic and available to all characters, but others there are unique to a specific character, and they're suggestive of ways you should act as your character. So that's one of the really old things you should take away from regular moves is this suggests how your character should act. And then you've got your weak moves, and these are actions that leave you vulnerable or potentially cause an upset in the enclave. And what these do is doing these things allow you to gain tokens. And then tokens are just one token to take a strong move. And then you've got your lure, and that's a way of gaining a token. So everyone wants to remember what the other characters' lures are. This is why you should have your play kit open, because this will help you remember what you can do with another character, what sort of a scene you could start with another character to get a token. And then on the play kits, you'll also see for each character, you have key relationships. And those are like NPCs that your character brings to the table. And you can sort of invoke them, and that's a way you can yourself go about bringing other people into the table, and anyone can pick up those roles. Does anyone have any questions?
Not really. I think most of them will be answered as we jump into it.
All right.
I did have one quick one.
Mhm.
So I know, like in Dungeon World, it's sort of like each player picks one. Like you can't have two people of the same class. Is that the case here?
Correct.
Or
Everyone
is
is unique.
Okay.
Everyone's unique.
Okay.
Of course, when you bring in the key relationships, those key relationships might mean that you will get to turn into a like character. So say you're the tiger and the tiger has gang members, you might be the hawker, but you'll jump into a situation where you're the tiger's gang member, for example.
Fabulous. And you mentioned two things. You mentioned the book and then a character sheet. Something?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
in the you'll see in the Discord in the 2-Bite, there's a play kit, and then there's like the Google Drive. There are two Google Drives. One's to the
The
document
Dream
with the
Askew
gloss.
agenda.
Yeah,
All right.
and then there's the Google Doc with the whole PDF that has color, and then there's the 16-page black and white one.
Fabulous.
And I've also put the character sheets. Has everyone gotten into the Roll20 game?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm actually going to quickly exit it and make you all DMs, and that way you can actually go through the different.
The power.
Yeah, so because it's a GMless system, right? So
I feel corrupted already.
so the cool part about this is if you go up into the pages, these also have the character sheets and the enclave sheets.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that way what I was thinking, so I'll take all players over to the Iris. So I'm going to pause the OBS for a second. Okay, just a second. I am recording
We
again.
explain them.
So that's
Get
actually a really good point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Kyle,
That's
asked an awesome question, and that is, where are the genders explained? And so there's actually a document in the main book, and I'll go through this. I've got this window up in my OBS. You can't see it, but I'll go down to this section. So there's a section on genders, and the way genders work in this is your character can be he, him, they, them, or she, her, or whatever you want. But the genders are actually like your outward presentation of gender. So your pronouns can be completely independent of what your gender is. So I will read this section to you before we go any further, because there's a whole section on genders of the apocalypse.
Oh, is it that? I thought there might be something with a little.
There's a
Okay.
whole section on it, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to read that out
It's
because this is
down-
super cool.
It's on page 83.
Thank you. I will find that and read that out. I went not far enough and then too far. There we go. Genders of the Apocalypse. Creating character in Dream Askew involves contending with gender, but it's a gender extracted from the society intact, and made mutant. Oh, and society intact is like sort of one big thing we'll talk about as well as we start creating the world. What do some of these words even mean? So some carry storied legacies from the real world, already infused with meaning, such as femme, androgen, gender fluid, and others. But a few are tied to racial communities, positioning a character intersectionally, like Two-Spirited and Stud. Other genders of the apocalypse, Ice Femme and Dagger Daddy, take existing queer identities and recast them in ways the real world has yet to experience. Gargoyle and Raven emerge entirely new. When you encounter a gender word, imagine. Ask your fellow players, flirt with a search engine. If nothing comes up, invent. No matter how you come to your initial understanding, it's yours to continue to define through play. And so there is the crash course section, but I'll actually even go up throughout this. There are examples of play. And there's a really good one here at the closer to the beginning. Where it goes, okay. So there's this on page 18. There is an example of one of the players saying, I'm a dagger daddy, which I'm imagining like if Danny Trejo was really into giving hugs and feeding people. So it's like we can be imaginative and we can define it, we can look at it, we can define it as we create our characters. And then there's a section where you actually will create, where you will introduce your character. And so this is part where you can search engine it, right? But these are all, you can divorce them from your pronouns. But at first I wasn't sure about how pronouns worked in with the genders of the apocalypse, but then I read further, and it would seem that you do introduce your character's pronouns. Therefore, there's the gender, and there are the pronouns that you would use with it. But they can be two separate things, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Right. All right, folks. So the way we normally do character creation for this is we would hand out sheets, just randomly distributed, and give them to each person. And each person would read out the character's introduction. There's just a quick paragraph on the page for that character. Everyone gets a chance to read. And then we go around the table and people just sort of dibs a character. And once character creation is done, we move on to designing the enclave around those characters. So I'm going to go ahead. I am going to read the overview here. And then we get into this. And the overview is in the play kit as well, the 15-page one. Dream Askew gives us ruined buildings and wet tarps, nervous faces in the campfire glow, strange new psychic powers, fierce queer love, and turbulent skies above a fledgling community asking, what do you do next? Imagine that the collapse of civilization didn't happen everywhere at the same time. Instead, it's happening in waves. Every day, more people fall out of the society intact. We queers are always living in the margins of that society, finding solidarity, love, and meaning in the strangest of places. Apocalypse didn't come for us first, but it did come for us. Gangs roam the apocalyptic wasteland, and scarcity is becoming the norm. The world is getting scarier, and just beyond our everyday perception, howling and hungry, there exists a psychic maelstrom. We banded together to form a queer enclave, a place to live, sleep, and hopefully heal. More than ever, each of us is responsible for the survival and fate of our community. What lies in the rubble? For this close-knit group of queers, could it be utopia? And that is the introduction. As we create our characters, we can talk about, what caused the apocalypse. We can do that sort of thing. But let's start by reading the characters. And I said, does anyone other than me want to go first? Oh, it's the teacher moment.
Lead the way, Steven.
All right. Okay. So I
Yeah.
will actually, and I'll also pull it up in the. I will pull it up on the screen here as well. I should. There we go. I will note that Dream Askew does have a section on cooking for your guests. We unfortunately can't share a meal together. I did choose my guests and my players. I mean, we're all players in this one. The group for this first trial run, this fun run, based on people I would be interested in breaking bread with. So we did pass through that.
Aw.
I mean it.
Really sweet.
I will send you all pancakes in the mail, and they will be dry and inedible by the time they get there.
In the
They'll be
microwave.
dry, inedible, and metaphorical.
Well,
so-
check out my Twitter
Okay.
post from earlier today, asking, how many followers I need to do an artistic pancake giveaway. There's pictures of the pancakes I made this morning.
Oh boy.
That food coloring in all of them, or did someone take a marker to them?
It was food coloring. My son was like, "Can we put food coloring in these?"
Oh, hold on. I don't know how I feel about colorization of pancakes.
It was.
Like
It felt really artistic
You
at the time.
sound like
is that the
Ted
original
Turner, sir.
artistic intent? Yeah. Excuse me,
You sound
sir.
like Ted Turner. That's how dare you.
Sir.
Like, I'm not here to judge this early, but is that the straight person saying that?
Right.
No colors allowed. Excuse
not-
me?
Wow.
Big beige.
Wow.
That sounded really
Listen.
bad the way that came out.
It's very.
Yeah.
I just like tradition. Like, is there anything wrong with,
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
you know?
We do it
like-
because it's always been done that way.
Right?
Exactly.
That's probably what
Please
caused the
do not-
apocalypse.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like
Oh,
he's
maybe.
gonna start burning witches in a minute.
Oh shit.
Wait,
Okay.
Wait, are we saying the colorization of the pancakes caused the apocalypse? That's what I'm hearing. That's what I.
Probably.
It's possible. Some of them looked more apocalyptic than others. But here we go. So in the play kit, what you've got is you've got 3 columns. I'm reading from the book here, which has just a page with the whole character role explanation. You don't have to read the play to find out section. So the iris, a character role. The psychic Maelstrom touches us all, but the iris has been indelibly marked and changed. Their gifts are unprecedented and unexplained, but may hold the secret to our healing. What is everyone so afraid of? The iris is an unnerving individual. Their power is mysterious, ephemeral, and unprecedented.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Witch, they're a witch.
Yeah.
Pete's gonna burn him.
That's one we have to burn first, right? Is that how this game works? How do you win? Is that
You burn the witch.
burn the iris? Right?
It does say
Hey,
it
it's not
doesn't
about the destination.
it says you
Oh.
may
About the
and
journey.
it says you may leave the session laughing or crying. It doesn't say anything about on fire.
How about both? Oh,
I
Right.
mean, we might be, we could be
Yeah.
flaming, but
Happy tears.
I mean, I don't feel like with my players, it's not a successful session if everyone doesn't have like grief diarrhea by the end of it. You know?
Oh, thank God Kyle's not running this one. Thank God.
Oh,
Okay.
geez.
I don't need any more. Don't need any more grief
No.
diarrhea in my life.
No.
I'm good. Man, I hit my quota already. I hit my quota. Thanks.
Cat,
All
the
right.
things that
All right.
middle age you have to look forward to.
Yikes.
Do you, and with that,
Yikes.
Cat, the hawker, do you want to read for the hawker?
Yes, I will. Introducing the hawker. The market failed, the shops and restaurants and factories closed their doors, and into that void steps the hawker, hustling and working odd jobs, pulling a livelihood out of the rubble of apocalypse. The hawker is an industrious individual. Their power is material, social, and contingent.
All right. Kyle, would you read for us the Stitcher?
Certainly. Introducing the Stitcher. Things break. Supplies run out. Bodies get wounded. The Stitcher is there. Fixing, mending, making, repurposing. They have a workshop and an uncanny intuition. The Stitcher is a resourceful individual. Their power is technical, material, and reactive.
That was fantastic.
Yay!
Pete, the tiger.
All right. I do have a request in post. Could you add a little like tiger sound effect, like a
Oh my
you know,
God.
kind of
I'm gonna do some of that type stuff.
Thanks.
At least I'll do my best.
Introducing the tiger. The police fled the neighborhood. Things were scary for a while. Now, the tiger and their gang own the streets around here. Is that ownership still contested? The tiger is a wicked, fierce individual. Their power is social, violent, and hard-won.
Thank
Oh,
you,
dear. Oh no.
Stella. The torch.
Introducing the torch. All routines and mundane knowledges crumble under the weight of the apocalypse. But the torch has answers. Are they ancient teachings, ecstatic fantasy, or a new faith dawning? Followers draw near to their warm glow. The torch is a compelling individual. Their power is spiritual, social, and mystical.
Thank you. And excuse me. And finally, the arrival. Introducing the arrival. When society shoves you out, you don't really have time to process. You need food, shelter, friends. The arrival found their way to the enclave. Can they barter a measure of amnesty into a permanent home? The arrival is an individual in flux. Their power is contingent, technical, and suspect. So those are our character roles. Did anything stand out to anyone? Does anyone want to dibs anything right away? have
I'm
any
definitely
questions?
looking at the iris. I'm definitely
Yeah?
definitely feeling either iris or torch, one of the two.
I
just
would
looking for
I-
maximum opportunity for grief diarrhea, I think.
Which one?
I mean,
Iris and
I
torch.
so I'm gonna give everyone grief diarrhea so that I can fix it, because that's what I do.
That's it.
That's my hero move. I don't start fires and put them out. I give people horrific diarrhea and then
That out. Different kind of fire.
that's right.
Does anyone challenge Kyle for the iris
Yeah.
or the torch?
Bring it on.
Don't feel like throwing my glove down at you, sir.
Oh,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
oh,
Here we
the
go.
gauntlet has been thrown.
I think
Yes.
I was more attracted to the torch and the hawker than the iris. So the iris definitely piqued my interest, but the iris is all yours if you would like it.
Right, then I'll be the iris.
So I was really real quick side story. I'm making a homebrew world, and in it, my secret society is called the Seam, and the head of the Seam is called the Tailor. And as soon as I saw the Stitcher, I was like, "Holy shit!" this has a lot to do with what I was trying to make with that secret society. So that right away stood out to me to something that I would like to sort of play in.
Okay.
That's cool.
Does anyone? I won't
Yeah.
challenge. I'm not going to challenge anyone. Does anyone else?
And so, Kat, did you claim one then? You were saying
No, I
kinda
just
for you it was
said
like,
I had an interest in two.
okay. Because when I was reading through the document, I know, Stephen, you said like it made you think about Mad Max, but I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys have ever like encountered Fist of the North Star. It's like a anime. I don't know. It just kind of made me think of that, and so I was thinking, like, I thought it'd be cool. It's sort of like a post. It's like basically like Mad Max mixed with like a Bruce Lee movie kind of thing.
Okay.
So I was thinking like a martial artist, but I was thinking either like a religious type thing in the torch or the tiger. So I was kind of on the fence about what it would look like. Like it could either be kind of like somebody leading a religious movement, but as part of that religious movement, then self-defense is part of that. In the post-apocalypse, or they sort of like. I've also been watching Cobra Kai, so that might inform some of it. But,
I mean, and that's one thing we could talk about. Like, what would this like? There's 5 of us. We can leave out one of these character types, and what would happen if we left out the tiger? Like, would it be that the torch comes in and there's like a cult-like society or a religious organization that takes care of the community in that way? So that's one thing
That
we
might
can
be
even.
interesting.
So like, are we thinking like we're gonna leave the tiger on the table? Like the tiger's just gonna like sit off in the side? Do I do that?
yeah, I mean, but also
I mean,
reading through it, it doesn't. It's
if you want to start world building, it could totally be that the tigers recently died because they were protecting the settlement against an attack.
Ooh, yeah.
nice.
See, and this is what this game's
Very
about,
nice.
is like having these conversations.
Yeah.
Is like, you've come in to fill this void because of this issue. One thing, and this was sort of something I was thinking about, of like, if we needed some prompts, one idea was like, what if all of the plant life, and this will come up, we can talk about this in the Enclave worksheet as well, where like mutant plant life is part of it, but like, what if the plant life is like all sorts of wild, crazy colors? So like, apocalypse preppers like camo gear does not camouflage against it, but drag queens are like super camouflaged. I was like thinking about that. Like that would be
That's so
super
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that
Yes,
was
yes.
so like
But
that would be fun.
How do you keep all of those clothes clean? You know,
You
in
go
the
to the Stitcher.
apocalypse.
Stella,
Nice.
did you want to take the Stitcher?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's interesting if we don't have the tiger, because that sort of seems like the like violent, most aggressive character of them all. So starting with the tiger having recently died, whether because they were too aggressive and violent and there was a bit of a rise up against them, or because it ended up that they were defending some other outside force and they got killed. But I think that it could be a really interesting way to sort of
Well, and it sets
Sure.
up a fun little power vacuum.
avoid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. But then also, like, did their death like stop whatever threat it was, or was that just kind of like?
It probably
You know.
delayed
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Uh-oh.
if we're looking
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
if we're looking for interesting story hooks, then delaying it, giving the rest of the community time to prepare for it, you know, but not yet knowing exactly what it is, could definitely be a thing. A thing, I say,
Yeah.
because I have good
Yeah.
wordings.
Oh, this is good. So, Pete, I've put the torch in for you, but do you,
All right.
yeah? Kat, what,
No,
where
I'm
were
down for
you?
it, yeah.
Oh, well, I was very much drawn to the Hawker. Just
Okay.
sounds like a very interesting character.
And then finally, if we are thinking out, got Kyle, did you take the iris? Yeah.
I did. I
All
did.
right. So I am the arrival. There we
I'm
go.
psychic. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Touche.
Don't question it. Do not. Do not.
All right. So once we get this, so once we've chosen our, basically what we're doing is exactly how you play. It's this process that they call idle dreaming in the game, and that's where we start like making these connections. Like, what happened to the tiger? You know, who's this arrival? You know, what's
Also,
the setting like?
the arrival is definitely named Cub or something, like
Yeah.
very much implying that they're the new tiger.
Oh my
Oh, that would be
God.
good. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, that's the torch names I'm looking at. So yeah, once we've done this, what we can start looking at is just talking amongst ourselves as we build our characters, and we build our characters, we introduce them, and then we start building the world. Does anyone have any questions before we go on? And you don't have to. The one thing that you need to look for, and I'm gonna try to streamline where we put our lures in gameplay so everyone knows each other's lures. When we do the interaction, everyone needs to know the lure. But then as we do the idle dreaming bit, where we're sort of just like talking through our relationships and everything, what you're gonna do is there is this question at the bottom of the center column where it says choose one question to ask to the left, and you can sort of like keep one of these questions in mind as like the one you prefer, but what you are going to want to do is save that for like a scene or the beginning of the actual like thinking about how we're all going about our daily lives in the enclave, and that's how we'll go and that's how we start scenes, and then it sort of naturally turns into scenes. That makes sense to everyone? So basically, to make a character, you just go down the center column and you circle things. All right, so you found it. Is everyone able to mark up a PDF or have a printed copy of this? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, so I'll start at this. So yeah, just work your way through that middle column. And some of the prompts in the middle column are the same for everyone, like the name, the look, and then some of them are a little different. So the two middle ones are a little different. The key relationships are going to be different for everyone.
Hmm. All right.
Is it okay if we slightly like nudge the possible genders given to us?
Absolutely. I mean, and you could like, or you could just take it and like redefine how you feel about it, right?
Okay. And we can discuss that when we get to
Absolutely, because that's when you introduce your character, and like I read where it's like, I imagine this as being like Danny Trejo who loves giving hugs, right? Like that's
that. Amazing. Okay.
yeah. Oh, and then the look, there's like 2 lines. My understanding is you choose like one from each line.
Mm-hmm.
Who's feeling emotional making up these backstories already? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, again?
Yeah, once you, especially like once you get to the wardrobe, it's like
Yeah.
there I'm like, I don't know. I haven't looked too heavily through the wardrobes, but I'm like, bloodstains is one of my options.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh man.
Key relationships. Oh, I'm going the heartbreak route. Let's go.
No.
I know I read some of those key relationships, and I was like, this could be very interesting.
I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And Steven, is the play kit just available on the website? download?
I believe the play kit is available free for download. I got
Okay.
it through drive-through. I got the whole package through drive-through RPG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I do know that the cool thing about some of the Powered by Apocalypse games, some of them are available as free versions. So
okay.
I'm not sure about Dream Askew, but there is a free version of Dream Apart if you go to the Apocalypse, Powered by the Apocalypse website.
Okay.
But I believe for most Powered by the Apocalypse games, and I mean in this case, I'm using it interchangeably. They're not completely interchangeable. This is a belonging outside belonging, but it is they do take the idea of playbooks from Powered by the Apocalypse, and generally the playbooks are available for free for people to get. Like a character sheet.
Yeah, well, I really like the sort of the design of the document, and that was really cool.
It's pretty. I really want to. If I could afford the hardcover, I would get the hardcover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, just the play kit PDF is. I just really like the design of it, and then all the sort of the quotes from the literary sources was really cool and helpful.
Absolutely.
I read Station 11 at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was really cool. Amazing book. High recommend. And really cool that they were referencing it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's all about Toronto. I don't know if y'all know that book.
Oh, really?
That's one I have not read.
It's so
Station 11.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
it starts off. Yeah,
I read it a couple of years back, and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, there's a quote in there about Traverse City from Michigan. I was like, oh, is it set in Michigan? But so it's.
Well, I guess it starts in Toronto and then goes, but the whole opening, when the apocalypse kicks in, they're in Toronto and going to these theaters that I've been to and talking about streets that are live on, and it's just and then they go places, but it's very Toronto at the beginning.
That's cool.
It's good. It's real good.
Sorry, did you mean T-Dot or?
I didn't. I never mean T-Dot.
Well, I just want to make sure. I wasn't sure.
Good on you for checking.
All right, I think I'm good to go. How's everyone else doing?
I am. I got to the decide how I knew that the enclave existed question, and it completely changed every other question that I answered.
Yeah, there you go.
I had to redo.
Yeah, I'm still halfway through.
That's good. I am now seeing it. I'm kind of tempted to change my name to Pete the Torch, everywhere, because that's
pretty good.
Cyle the Iris. Oh.
I didn't until you read it like that. I didn't think about the flower at all. I was thinking about the iris of an eye.
Yeah.
Is there any symbolism to the flower that would indicate some kind of psychic power?
Well, the iris it's a flower that can grow anywhere. It grows well in pretty much any environment, as long as there's sun and water. And it's also one of the most diverse flowers. Naturally, you can find them in any shade, and they are, gorgeous. So so it fits, and I don't want to hear any different.
I'm not it.
Oh, geez, these two key relationships are they're good. I'm gonna read them. So, the people I fled from, the spouse I left behind, the gentle soul who invited me to share their bed, the Twinkie trans guy who has me questioning things, the first person to offer me a stiff drink, and my guide. I'm gonna, this is good. How's everyone else doing? How's everyone feeling?
This could either get real dark or real fun.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Why not both? I mean, you know.
Dark leading into fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or vice versa. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was between. So yeah, I have one of the ways I could just know how the enclave existed is that I could have come here for the epic parties.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Well,
It's not what I chose.
I don't want to spoil anything, but
I love that.
that might be part of my character introduction.
That's
Oh,
That's
there you
exciting.
go. There you go.
One of my strong moves is reveal a previously unmentioned skill.
See, that's that I can do anything mutant ability. That's
Except I have to have the tokens for it.
okay.
Yeah, you have to spend money for it, so
Yeah.
use it wisely. So and then the tokens you can earn either through the lures or the weak moves. Is that the
Yeah,
idea?
so yeah. The weak moves will gain a token, and going to someone else and using someone else's lure gets you a token. So like mine is
Oh, go ahead.
like mine is whenever someone gives you an opportunity to prove yourself to the community, they gain a token. So like
One of my weak moves is appeal to prophecy or cosmic forces. So Kyle, I think we're going to be talking.
Oh yeah, because you can ask to use my psychic gifts.
Mhm. Please,
And then-
please, please.
one of
I
mine
will-
is accidentally open your brain to the world's psychic Maelstrom.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
yeah, I'm gonna mess you up, dude.
That's also one of my weak moves, so this should be interesting.
Oh,
Sure.
this is gonna be fun. So
I could get
Mhm.
real evil. Oh Lord, this could get. I could definitely
Really?
become the villain in this.
well, and
If
so
it-
that's
The guy,
one of the parts of this
the
is
guy who
that
gives people stress diarrhea could be evil. Is that a thing?
yes,
Yeah, it is.
That doesn't add up.
And then they have to go to the Stitcher. Me, the Stitcher, are in league. That's how we make our money.
You create the problem, she fixes them.
and so
That's
one of
right.
so one of the things that we do here, one
Nice
part of this
racket.
is making trouble, right? So we aren't all perfect, and that's
How dare you?
Please speak for yourself.
well, I mean, you might be perfectly evil. I don't know, Kyle.
I might be.
Whoa.
So what do we do? Do we like
So,
introduce ourselves now?
Yeah.
or-
So what we get to do now is when we're all ready, we get to introduce ourselves, and then we will start creating the setting elements together. And the way I think, looking at the time, what we'll probably do is we'll go to 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern, and we'll get through the setting elements, and then we'll be like good to start scenes next Monday. Does that sound fair to everyone?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
Great.
Sounds good.
A nice little session 0 then.
Yeah, that's the way I started. That's why.
Mhm.
And so while we're recording, I'll still say that I think we may or may not use all 4 sessions that I've laid out on the calendar. But I like the idea of having those 4 sessions. The game should run 3 to 4 hours, even including character creation, it says, but we might have fun and we might need those for 4 sessions. But I don't
You might
expect
might
it will take-
accidentally have fun. So
we might accidentally have
Okay.
fun.
gotta take that into account.
That's going to be the quote.
I did want to mention some sort of hard lines for me.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's good.
I don't feel comfortable discussing anything about gender or sexuality or violence or being kind or people in general. So that's,
We are the robots in the post-apocalypse.
Okay, so we should just leave?
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Welcome to the Matrix.
So Steven has fully tell you what this is about, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
No,
Yeah.
I am fine with all of those things. The one thing that I have issues with is sexual violence.
Yeah.
Mm,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think we should draw a hard line with sexual violence. Violence against kids, I keep out of my
mm.
table.
This is not a Stephen King novel. No.
No.
Oh boy.
I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but the pause mechanic
Yeah.
in this
Mhm.
is pretty cool. Like, I know like the first half of that was a joke and the second half wasn't,
Yes.
and this third half, wow, I'm really good at math, is also not. But like that was a really good. I like the way that they sort of just touch on safety mechanics and sort of use the pause
Thank you.
mechanic as a sort of catch-all
Yeah,
in
and
this game.
I have a card somewhere on my desk, but my desk is a mess. That like I actually like often when I'm playing, and we can do this if you want, is just have like a pause card that has like the 2 lines on it. You can hold it up. My only caveat to that is if I'm not on the Discord screen and I'm not looking over at the OBS screen, so it
Yeah,
looks like I'm looking at just like
there should be a verbal cue.
yeah, if someone hold
Mhm.
if you need to do it non-verbally and hold up the pause card, that's awesome. If someone else could just like say, "Hey, pause," if someone is at a point where they like can't verbalize it, just if someone else could yell it as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because that's I mean the reason cards can be used sometimes is sometimes something comes up and we don't realize
in person,
it.
they're pretty practical.
Yeah, and I mean, but I mean, even online, I think it's worth using if need be, simply because if you're ever in a situation where you like just can't verbalize at that moment, use the card. And we can all just be each other's friends and watch for that card. All right.
Oh God. That's a lot to ask.
We can do our
okay.
best. I'm just saying,
Okay,
like,
all right.
yeah.
Can I just be someone's vaguely familiar neighbor instead of a
Yeah.
friend?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
okay.
Acquaintance.
That's right. That's right. I'll poke my head over the fence.
Yeah. Next time I'll get a fence for the overlay that hides the bottom of your
Perfect.
face, like Wilson.
That's right.
Oh well, do
right.
the top of his face because we want to see the beard. We don't, like we don't. Put
Nothing
the
else.
fence upside down.
So essentially, just a much more Dom looking Rocky Horror Picture Show mouth.
It's true.
I'll put on some bright red lipstick. And it'll just be, and I'll sing weird songs throughout.
In the apocalypse, fences
Yeah.
do not use gravity. Blub, 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 blub.
Yeah.
All right. So Kyle,
Sounds like
you
we've
got-
already got our enclave. So.
yeah, we've got it. We've got like floating fences.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What did the psychic Maelstrom actually do?
Yeah, so we can get into that a little more specifically with the setting elements, but I can scroll down there and we can look at it. So what it does is it can offer guidance, protection, and even flashes of brilliant inspiration, but it's hungry and nobody knows what it'll satisfy its appetite. So what this does is and we all will play as a setting element. So whoever plays the psychic Maelstrom will makes more choices about that, but we actually we can pass it around, and all setting elements are on the table. So if there's one that no one's playing as, it still is in play, and we can pick it up as need be. But what you do is you explore the subtle impact the cyclic Maelstrom has on everyday people and places. When people open their brains to the psychic Maelstrom, describe or ask about their sensory experiences, ask compelling questions, and build on the answers that others give. So I'm not sure if that really answered your question, though. And it's sort of how we imagine it. So I think of it as being that like interconnected psychic weave.
Well, then I
Well, I
will
think
ask. I will throw to the one real question that I have so for the iris is, did the psychic maelstrom cause the end of the world, or is it a function of the end of the world?
Ooh. I almost wonder if it's like
personally, I vote for a function. Like I feel like it's more of an effect than a cause. I like that idea better personally.
yeah, I almost
Yeah.
thought of
You
it as
know,
like
like
like a thinning of a veil on Halloween sort of thing, right? Like
Yeah.
mhm.
Like
And
society
that,
broke
and like
down.
it sort of was. No, go for it, please.
Sorry,
Yeah.
society broke down so hard from what we were. So for example, what we are now. So like into computers and the way we like just live our day to day and this structure, and that broke down so hard that it sort of also broke our brains, and we like tapped into this other force that we never had before.
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
cool.
As a suggestion.
Yeah, and
That was part of my thinking as well, was that like it's sort of like this thing that has happened post the apocalypse, right? Like it is created because of the fact that we have gone into this new sort of way of
Okay.
living. and
Yeah.
having to,
I have now,
you know.
after that discussion, I have now made a decision about how the iris has interacted with it.
And I mean, the one other thing I'd add is like, I grew up on William Gibson novels, and I love the idea of like religion coming into cyberspace. And so, like, there are people who really bring voodoo into the idea of cyberspace. And it's like,
Most as like a means of interacting with it and kind of visualizing like what's happening. And,
they see sort of the ghost in the machine as being like a spiritual thing. And there's actual, if we're going to talk about post-apocalyptic stuff from Toronto, set in Toronto, there's Brown Girl in the Ring. And that's, I believe it's like, there's the GTA, and then there's like Central Toronto, and the Ring is the GTA, and that has a bunch of that book has a bunch of stuff about voodoo and like Legba and that stuff. I'm not completely up on my voodoo terminology, but it really, like, it's very cool the way those books handle it. So yeah.
All right.
So with that, do you want to introduce your character, the Iris?
Ooh, I'm going to introduce the iris. It's what I'm going to do. I'm sorry, I had some music on for mood, and I'm just going to turn that off real quick. My name is Eventide. I've always sat in the background. When the world was still going, I was known as Eventide because I spent most of my days alone in my little apartment, and I would go out after the sunset to the clubs, and I would see people that I knew, but no one ever came back to my place, and I only ever interacted with people out in public. And one of the things that I did to make money, because I was quiet and I didn't really bother anyone, but people enjoyed it, was I would read tarot cards in the back of the club. And it was fine most of the time, but there would be moments when I would see something in the cards, like the pictures would start to move. And I knew that it was going to be one of those readings. And people always left upset. They were always in tears at the end of those readings. And even when I saw them getting there, I couldn't stop. Something was driving me. And it wasn't until after the fall that I realized that I had been speaking to the Maelstrom since I was a child. So I was a little better prepared when it descended on humanity. After the fall, when people started hearing things and seeing things and things started happening, they had no idea what was going on. People started going crazy. But for me, it was just different pictures. It was a new story. It just wasn't on the cards anymore. I'm slight with a soft frame, but there's a little sparkle in my eyes, like I always know how to find my light, even when there is none. It's difficult to determine my gender anymore, mainly because everything has sort of softened. There's no hard lines on me. It's as though my reality, my physical reality, is becoming as fluid as my mental reality has always been. I tend to wear pretty casual clothes. I don't like to stand out in a crowd. But those who know me know that the one bright piece of anything that I wear is several what look like Chinese hair sticks, but are in fact very thin throwing knives. They look very pretty in my hair, but they can be used at a distance or up close to do severe damage when I'm cornered. And do I talk about my psychic gifts? And
Is that in which you just go through the middle column?
Okay, all right, so all of it.
Yeah.
My whole life, I've had amazing intuition. So when I guess something, 95% of the times I'm right, even when I have no idea why I'm right. And I have no earthly concept of where that information would have come from. And of course, I still have my tarot cards. But days, I don't need to do a full spread anymore. I can just pull a card at random and it will tell me a story about someone's future. I survived the fall because I heard the voice on the wind of the psychic Maelstrom telling me that I was here for a higher purpose, that I am here to do something, but if I ever knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing, it would never happen. I just know that I'm important. As the apocalypse fell, I wandered from place to place, never really fitting in until I found the enclave. And it was here during the early moments after, I guess, the end of the world that I created a few relationships with people. One, I discovered that someone was living among us that was a predator. And when I confronted them about it, they hemmed and they hawed, they lied to me, which one should never do to someone who can read the world in a card. And I'm not sure how I did it, but I created something that I guess is called a weird eater that just constantly consumes the negative desires of this person. Most people can't see it, but I see it as a dark little bat-like creature sitting on the back of his head, just consuming and destroying those predatory instincts. And I found someone who, while not evil, certainly has an impure soul. I think they did many things that they regret in their old life, but I talk to them, I help them, and I try to guide them to a better path. And that's the iris.
That was fantastic. It's all right. Cat, the hawker.
I don't know how to follow up with that one. I will be playing the archetype of the hawker. My name is Jackbird. I am a very slight, very small figure, a person with a very tired face, but very precise hands. Like, I always know what to sort of do with them, where to use them. They're always sort of doing something, playing with something, but they're always very precise. I do not talk a lot about my life before coming into the Enclave, because that life before my time here in the Enclave does not matter as much as where I am now. Through the work that I did before the apocalypse, I struggled, but I was resilient. And through the sort of the ashes of everything that fell, I was able to rise above a lot of it and be able to make a name for myself. I provide luxury food to the Enclave for people who may have tastes that they still are looking to sort of sate, even though it is harder and harder to come by. Fish that we may not be able to find, various meals, recipes. I also provide lodgings in the Enclave for anyone looking for a place to rest their head. And nearly anything that anybody is chasing at the time, I will be sure to find it and make sure that they have what they desire. If you see me around the street, I wear a lot of vintage formal get-up with my signature color is orange, so there's a lot of orange usually within what I'm wearing, whether it's with, the tie or something soft occasionally, or even just rings and that sort of thing. I, on top of providing those sorts of foods and lodgings and whatever it is that you need, I usually take payment in the form of whispered secrets. Anything that you desire to tell me, I will take it as payment. And I also, my currency also runs in the form of protection. I will give you what you want if you promised to either protect me or protect someone that is close to me. In my time in the Enclave, I have garnered a few key relationships. One of them happens to be a pretty unsteady one. It can be jovial at times, but there was a queen of the sort of the place that I run, who used to run this business, and I drove her out through my quick-wittedness and my manipulativeness, I suppose. We keep in touch, but it is still very much a very rocky relationship. The other relationship that I keep, and practically the only other one that I keep, is for the Wasteland salvager who brings anything that I need. We are very close. They provide me what I need, and I provide to them anything that they need at the time. And they have been my constant through my time here at the Enclave. They are the one person that I will openly admit helps me get to where I am here. So I suppose if we're talking about what my sort of presentation is like, I kind of went with the idea of I was drawn to the idea of whatever I envisioned for a dagger daddy. That was one of the genders I could choose, and I just it immediately drew me in. Just this sort of very this sort of butch looking character who is very kind of just has like these sort of sharp edges about them. This sort of very just like hawkish face, if you will. So that's kind of where I'm going with that presentation.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that is Jackbird for you.
I like it.
Jackbird.
Yeah. I actually have,
Very nice.
when I tested out the nameplates, that was actually, when we do the slideshow, I've already got a Jackbird slide already made because I just like randomly chose names and threw them into the nameplates just to test out the slideshow. So next week when we have those going, that's already ready. I love that name. It's perfect. Stella, the Stitcher, introducing the Stitcher.
Okay, hello, bonjour. People around here, they just call me Knots. I don't know why. Crack, crack, crack. You see, their hands are just these massive knuckles and like scarred. I don't know why I get here. Everyone is, who is that? I don't know. Call them Knots. So I'm like, okay, call me Knots. I don't care. What do I do around here? I fix it. You need your car fixed? I fix it. You need your radio fixed? I fix it. You need your pantalon fixed? I will fix it. Don't you worry. You bring me your things. I will fix it. It will be a fair trade. Not like that asshole out there, Jaguar. Have you met Jaguar? Ugh. So that's one of my relationships. As a person who, they are the black market person. And I owe them all kinds of money. Don't get in their debt. I tell you, it is a problem. Anyway, if you come see me at my house, you will find that's where we do the radio broadcasts from. If you come by, you can do a broadcast if you have something important to say. We cannot change the schedule around the weather report. Very important. Around the reports from the Iris, we cannot change certain parts of the schedule, but maybe you can come in and do a broadcast. Also, you see in front of, I'm doing this all out of order, sorry. You see in front of you a person who is pretty big, like 6 foot tall, has sort of like just like this like mane of like a curly sort of mohawk that's like braided at the back, big thighs, big hands, strong. You don't want to fuck with this person, but also there's something about their eyes. You know those people who have those eyes that feel like they're watching you no matter where you are in the room? Like those kind of eyes, like they see you. You can't get away with shit around them. They go by any pronoun. Because what is gender anymore? We have bigger problems, no? This problem is if you come in and do the broadcast, sometimes Marie, if she is doing very bad, we will not be able to do the broadcast because it must be quiet. I cannot disturb. So I have a lover who is terminally ill, and I came here with her. If this is not too big story-wise, I think that we rode in on sort of the last tank of gas we had in our little like trailer that we were taking around, and settled here. And basically, I will do favors for people. I will do fair trades. But the second, like, my lover Marie is having a bad day with her health, like, everyone get the fuck out. You get nothing from me on those sick days. Am I getting emotional? No. Fine. That's it, I guess. Most of my supplies, I barter. So I think I'm one of the only people that sometimes leaves the enclave to go barter with people. And somehow there's something about this like huge jovial person that people outside of the enclave will still barter with because there's something so charming about them. I also tend to like people just throw like their old crap at like my house at my like whatever we have in terms of houses to like take apart and fix. And if I like make something cool out of it, I'll return them a piece of whatever they left me. I think that's it.
That's awesome. So you've got broadcasting as one of your workshop functions?
Yeah, so I chose woodworking and broadcasting. So
Ooh.
I figure we have a very, very maybe shortwave radio.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Iris. Do I have a talk show on here?
Out there, and you can totally nix that, but maybe
No, I'm
there's something
100%
about like
there for it.
yeah, like your visions, like maybe you have like an hour a week or whatever where you talk about.
I feel like it would straight up be because my tarot readings have become more and more and more precise that daily, like I come and I give the whole like the enclave what today's gonna bring.
Yeah,
And like whenever you're in a shitty mood, the broadcast won't go though. Like no broadcasts.
yeah.
That's like one of the things that just like completely blows all technology.
Well, I feel like too that like in the very earliest days of the enclave, I would do them and suddenly like if there was a terrible vision, like there was going to be a raid or something like that, like I would see that and I wouldn't realize that I'm talking to everybody. And so people would just get terrified.
I like it.
Of what was going on. And so like I try to sort of sugarcoat things now.
Oh, that's fun.
Amazing.
Stella, after you said don't fuck with me, I was like, don't fuck with me, je me souviens.
Je me souviens, motherfucker.
Oh my God.
I am my trashy family from Quebec, alors, but
Stop
cooler.
signs are just a suggestion.
Mais oui.
So to the rest of the world, the Quebec license plate has Je me souviens written at the bottom, which means I will remember, and English Canada takes that to mean I will remember what you did to me. Fuck you.
Oh my God.
I actually think that maybe I have that license plate like on my door, and it's sort of like people interpret it in many ways, but for me, and I think maybe nobody of my close friends know this, it's a like I will remember the way we treated each other before, like you know, like
which I mean, yeah,
which in itself can be taken in a lot of different ways, and I think they. Like, because this is a particularly queer commune or queer enclave, I think they remember that the queers treated us well. The queers provided for my sick wife or whatever.
What's the queer battle of Abraham? Anyway, we'll figure that one out.
Yeah, Yeah,
next week.
I will remember.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, the traffic lights don't work anyway, so.
Right.
Introducing the torch, Pete.
Ooh.
All right. So, before everything went to shit, then I was a street preacher.
Shit.
Basically, just whatever. Sorry, can we swear or no?
Yeah.
Do we say?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna put
So
because this
I
has
was
content warning on it anyway.
okay, good. So I was a street preacher. So basically, just like grinding it out, doing whatever it took to make it through the next day. But just this full fervent belief in, I don't even remember anymore, but whatever religion it was at the time. My name is Rhyme, and basically my appearance is very imposing, and that sort of uh, gets me people's attention immediately. I have these weird kind of like flickering eyes that seem to have some kind of fire burning behind them, and this very stern, ashen, stone-like face that's very imposing. But my entire identity, especially after the fall, then my entire identity is formed around the idea of war. There's a fight. We're always fighting. Whether it's for sustenance, whether it's for the basic needs, providing for our community, or whether it's actually getting into physical altercations with other groups, with bandits in the wasteland, or maybe we have to start raiding the people who seem to be creating walls and holding us out from resources that they have that they don't seem willing to share with us. So Rhyme dresses in very striking colors, kind of very stern, I would say, like tailored outfits. Uh, it's very theatrical in the way of leadership or a religious person might be, and they're sort of these hand drawn sigils covering his garments. And then one of the things in the character sheet, I had to choose rituals. So in the church, I kind of picture it as like almost like a strip mall type storefront with like neon sign advertising, and it's a very not necessarily denominational, but it's very martially oriented. But during the day, then they have these very elaborate tea ceremonies, which are very structured. If you participate, then you have to be sitting in a certain way. Tea is poured, like there's a certain rhythm to it. But then when the sun starts setting, then the church is a host to these wild bacchanalias that basically, and it's a sort of like within the religious structure of Rhyme of the character. Then there's this very like we sort of all lead different lives, two lives, and you can't just be strictly disciplined all the time. Like there has to be sort of this pent up daytime and then this release at night. Like almost every night is like these insane parties being thrown. But really, the entire religion is structured around the idea that the psychic Maelstrom is sending threats out to devour us. Now, how this affects my relationship with Eventide, who knows? Do I perceive you as a threat? Do I perceive you as a resource? Because you're able to channel the power of the Maelstrom. Who knows? But
Well, I mean, I think we
you
can
know,
get into it. I mean, that's sort of
yeah,
the point of this whole thing.
sure, yeah. But it's
Um,
I smell
like
trouble.
the personality trait says decide what looming threat you alone truly understand. And so, yeah, so anyway, so then I chose the psychic Maelstrom sends wolves to devour us. So, but I think like we'll get into it, but I think like I just want to say like the idea is that Rhyme is preparing for an eventual existential battle against whatever threat they believe is coming from the Maelstrom. And key relationships are the students that he's teaching. So again, this is like a very like martial focused, like there's the tea ceremonies during the day, but then there's also a very like self-defense martial arts type thing. And then there's also one of the key relationships is the coven that I was asked to leave. So when he first came to the enclave, there was a form, maybe perhaps presently existent coven of witches that he joined and that he was part of for a while, but then was eventually asked to leave because maybe a little too intense. I think that they have a different relationship with the Maelstrom than he does, and so now he's kind of at odds. But yeah, I don't want to. If you want to talk about my relationship with the Eventide, what do you? I mean,
Oh, that's
Well,
fun.
I think that there's actually a really easy way, based on my character sheet, for us to have a close but fraught relationship, which is that the Maelstrom told me that I am here to serve a higher purpose. And I think that my higher purpose is to help everyone understand the Maelstrom and utilize it as, I see it as more like the collective subconscious of the human race, and that it's eventually going to be the way that we communicate with each other over long distances, which would lead me to really enjoy the broadcasting thing. But that you think that my higher purpose is to be the the bringer of destruction, and that I'm the physical manifestation of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess since you say that, like I feel like to sort of solidify it, I think maybe ultimately Rhyme sees it as the manifestation of all the like anxiety and anguish of humanity. Like that's what, and it's essentially like a storm of pain and anguish, and it's like like it's all about like trying to either find a way to fight back against that or like release it through some different vector, but it's like we don't want that to exist in the world essentially. So yeah, I think there's definitely a conflict of interest there.
I do have a question about your bacchanals.
Okay.
So many questions.
Right. What percentage of the community actually participates them like on a regular basis, do you think?
I don't know. What do you guys think? Like that's a definitely a good question.
Well, I mean, there's the sort of the question of like, if you don't go, like, there's always that possibility of if you don't go, are you like the weird one? Like,
Or if you go, are you the weird one?
Are you the weird one?
Yeah.
Also, how big? This is a question to the group. Like, approximately how big is this enclave? Are we talking a few hundred people, a few thousand people, a few dozen people?
I feel like we're probably in the like 200 to 300 probably range. I feel like that's a manageable number where there's interesting things going on, but no one ever gets lost in a crowd. Like everyone knows everyone.
I mean, and a dozen does not make a bacchanal. I mean,
that's just a bunch of guys getting drunk. Like that's not.
That is not. But yeah,
like 250 people here do 25, 30, 50 go to these bacchanals?
Well, like, and here's the other thing is like, does the bacchanal itself, could it be like disguised within a bigger party? Like, could it be like there's, a dance, like wild dance parties, but then the bacchanal happens like in the VIP room or something.
The VIP room, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the basement.
Or do you have to be like associated with said religion to go to a bacchanal? Like, can you just go and
I think I kind of see it as like, Yeah, I think I kind of see it as like more of a recruitment type thing, like under the
Mhm.
guise of like, like, hey, everybody come and enjoy our pancake dinner, and bam, now you're,
Okay,
you're getting
I know where the issues in our relationship started.
okay.
Um, uh, when I first came to the enclave, um, obviously because I had a strong tie to the psychic Maelstrom, you attempted to recruit me to the church, which meant bringing me into one of the Bacchanals. Um,
Mhm.
and when I am having an orgasm, I cannot control my abilities, which meant
Oh.
that during the bacchanals, suddenly these people would experience like the very depth of their souls, and
Mhm.
either they would just instantly fall in love or instantly be absolutely terrified. And
Sure.
so even in the middle of a giant sex party, I was sort of ostracized to the corner of the room, you know.
Like,
And
hey,
was not was
we're
not
we're all
invited
bare
back.
ass naked, but you're kind of making people feel weird. So,
Right?
like, could
I'm
you?
just trying. Oh
Yeah,
God.
I hear
Yeah.
you.
Could be a really
That's
interesting
good.
group in the sense that I think that the torch and the iris connect a lot, whether for good or for bad. And I
No.
imagine the Hawker and the Stitcher connect a lot. So that's sort of like
Yeah.
the spiritual side and then the practical side. And then the
Mhm.
arrival is kind of neither yet. And I feel
Mhm.
like that's a big, potentially just offering that could be a potential
Yeah.
division of people in
Yeah.
this group, is that like you're really into this
Mhm.
spiritual stuff, the Maelstrom, and there's this other group of people that are like, I don't really care about that. We need to practically live and
It's
do
like
stuff.
we gotta eat
Right.
tomorrow. So
Yeah,
who's gonna
Yeah,
yeah,
do
but then
that?
like the Maelstrom, like that could be like one
Exactly.
of the main tensions is like the
yeah,
Maelstrom is kind of pushing into the group, and then the
Mhm.
Stitcher and the Hawker are kind of trying to keep the practical side together.
yeah.
Which brings us to the arrival. Introducing the arrival.
Oh no.
If we're all ready to move on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
My name is Tahani. I,
Al Jamil. Sorry.
but not
Sorry.
that Tahani
Sorry.
Al
Sorry.
Jamil.
I just love that. That's
But
my
that would
favorite
be
show
awesome.
ever.
And
That is my favorite
Celebrity.
I
show.
definitely chose that name in part because of that.
That's wait. So
And
are we in hell? Is that what the implication
oh
is?
We are in the bad place.
Wait.
That was the last D&D game I played. It was fun, but we are in the good place.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I mention my guy looks like Ted Danson, or is it
Oh,
too late?
nice.
Oh, never mind.
Nice.
All right, forget.
Tahani has recently arrived to the Enclave. You all are familiar with them. They used to drive the luxury food items to Jackbird in their armored grocery truck. They used to be able to get them in every week, but lately Jackbird had noticed that their supply was going slowly, so they were wondering what was up, and all of a sudden Tahani came in. They looked tired, and they had nothing but just like their welding gloves on. They use welding gloves as driving gloves, and they were just hunched over tired, and they had their uh, truck held up by a wild group of bandits. Excuse me. Tahani never hangs out in the Enclave too long, not long enough for anyone to really figure out their gender. They often are wearing a white athletic shirt and like what was once a utility kilt that became like just this like wild tutu that they decided they liked. It was what sort of set them apart. And uh, they occasionally will stop in other areas. They would never do anything to the enclave, but they've definitely, from time to time, stolen some club clothes that they'll wear if they have to spend the night and go to a Bacnal in the enclave. They've got some stolen club clothes, so there's always this risk that the police forces of the Society Intact would come after Tahani, but they're ready to pack up and get out of town in some hiking gear that they keep in the back of their truck as well. Sort of take Tahani to be a little bit of a radical fairy, but kind of like a very subdued radical fairy until they get into like the Bacnal, when they get like super excited and their club clothes like never match. Like they often wear men's clothes on the top and women's clothes, like skirts on the bottom. But yeah, I knew about the enclave because I would bring Jackbird their weekly grocery deliveries in my armored truck. His name is Gilbert. But Gilbert's gone now.
Oh no.
Taken by the bandits. I was able to call in to the enclave to let Jackbird know I was coming on the way. I had my phone stuck in my pocket and got a holy book from a religion long forgotten in my knapsack. The two key relationships I've chosen are the gentle soul who invited me to share their bed, and the first person to offer me a stiff drink. And that is Tahani.
Ooh, I've got questions.
I might have I might have answers.
How long ago? So, I'm really curious about the story of how you lost the truck, how you lost Gilbert.
So I was making my normal routine run into the enclave with various oysters, caviar, and stone-fired flatbread pizza.
Yeah,
with
I get it.
Yeah, and I was there. A bunch of hungry bandits had created a barricade across the road, and it like was one of those things that just like they flipped up this like big fence, and it just like rolled Gilbert, so I couldn't get out. And
All right, can we just put a pin in? We got to create a specific gang of bandits called the Hungry Bandits.
That's true.
Let's go after.
Wait,
Go
can they be a bunch of like just be super aggressive and live near the water so we can call them the Hungry Hippos?
I thought they were going to be the Hungry Wet Bandits.
I was kind of picturing a bunch of guys dressed in like Noid uniforms from the Dominoes.
Oh my
God. Like they're dressed like,
because that's all they could find. That's all that there was left.
Question: you mentioned phones. Do people have phone?
That's so in my. It's one thing that I could have was one of the things that I brought with me is a phone that's still got service and a whole book.
Well, the phone that still got service, it could totally be that your broadcast center is actually a cell phone tower. It's one of the last remaining cell phone towers.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I would imagine it's fairly uncommon to have a phone.
Probably.
Well, that's sort of something we can start doing if we get into the enclave worksheet. Is like there's stuff about like is one of the things in the enclave a cell phone tower that like doesn't work all the time. Like it is clear that cell phone towers exist in the enclave worksheet. But it's also like how often they exist is a question.
Yeah. the other thing that I am curious about is I would love if the reason that you came to town is because in my tarot reading that morning I saw that someone needed help down along this road, that my readings can get that specific, that it's like not like a specific time or anything like that, but it was like, there is someone in desperate need of help along this path, along the path to somewhere. And then the community has to choose whether or not they're going to act on that.
Ooh. So like that could be an opening scene, is that, or like?
Oh, it totally could be an opening scene. Yeah.
And who would that make you, the gentle soul who invited me to share their bed?
I mean, like, give me your physical description again.
I'm ambiguous. I am like, I picture, but it's like a specific, like I'm seeing it as like a gender fuck kind of ambiguous with like very chiseled jaw and like 5 o'clock shadow that you can't tell whether it's like a woman with like who's growing facial hair or a man who's like clean shaven. Got a like an athletic shirt and then a hot pink tutu. Big welder's gloves and like boots, hiking boots. Because I've got my wardrobe style. I've got hiking gear and shoplifted club clothes.
Nice. I'm into it. Yeah, no, that's 100% a thing. I'm just curious when I would have offered you I mean, it could totally be when you get saved that I offer you a place as a gentle soul. I offer you a place in my
that is also a key relationship. So it could also be someone else in the community. But
it could also be that I'm the person that you stay with when you make deliveries, because it's dangerous to travel at night.
It's true.
And that would make me very adamant about my reading that day.
Yeah.
Because it would be like, oh God, there's something wrong. I don't know what's wrong, but I've got a connection to it and I got to solve it. Oh God. So I'm down if I'm that key relationship.
Yeah, I like the idea of it being an opening scene because I think we all could find a reason to go out there. Like I, would obviously go to fix the old beater truck that has to get out there or whatever. Hawker would be going out there because you knew that they were coming with the delivery and you have a certain kind of relationship with them, / you still want to secure your delivery if you can, I bet. And then I don't know with the religious dude, but
oh geez, that would be good.
I think we just found an opening scene. I like it.
Yeah. So here's the question.
I like it. I think that's going to be it.
That is so good. Okay, so here's the question. I did promise you all like 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. We're past that. Do we want to say like now we've got our opening scene and we're going to start there next week?
Like it?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
I want to go with the energy, but I'm also like conscious of everyone's time, and I know that it's like almost 11 o'clock in